here's some good news. The Vatican says Pope Francis is showing more improvements as he recovers from his double pneumonia at his residence. This comes with Holy Week coming right around the corner and questions remaining about the Holy Father's participation. Joining us now from Rome is Frank Rocca, Senior Vatican Analyst for EWTN News. Frank, it's been almost 2 weeks since Pope Francis left the hospital. What are his doctors in the Vatican saying about his health now?
Well, last weekend, Dr. Sergio Alfieri, who coordinated the treatment of the Pope in the Gemelli Hospital, said he was making a remarkable recovery, very surprising, and he predicted that the Pope will regain at least 90% of the state of his health that he had before he went into the hospital, maybe even 100%. So that's remarkably optimistic. And then on Tuesday and then again today on Friday, the Vatican gave us some health updates and said that the Pope is continuing making slight improvements in his mobility and his breathing and his speaking, because we remember he lost a lot of his ability to speak, and that he's working. He's sitting up at his desk. He's celebrating the Mass every day in the chapel there on the second floor of Santa Marta, where he lives in the Vatican guest house. So it's progress, slow and steady.
Yeah, that's amazing. Has the Vatican given any indication on whether or not the Pope will participate in the upcoming Holy Week and Easter celebrations?
Well, no, they continue to say it's too early to discuss that. But there are a couple of signs that are encouraging. One is that they said that the Angelus this week may take a slightly different form than it has in the previous weeks, which sounds like they're hinting that he might appear in some way. Maybe he'll appear at the window, maybe there'll be a video or something, but they're going to tell us more tomorrow. They didn't, and also on Sunday, the Archbishop who celebrates the Mass for the Jubilee of the Sick will be reading a homily prepared by Pope Francis that he won't deliver himself. But so that might be another way we might imagine that he'll participate in Holy Week and Easter, is by writing the homilies, but even if he won't deliver them himself.
It sounds like there's some really good science here. You know, on another topic, we also understand that the Vatican's foreign minister, Archbishop Paul Gallagher, spoke on the phone today with his Russian counterpart about the war in Ukraine. What can you tell us about that conversation?
Well, as far as I know, we don't have a readout from the Russian side, but what the Vatican said was that they talked about, well, yes, the war in Ukraine, and talked about how to reduce the military conflict there, which of course has been the Pope's aim since the beginning of the war. And they also talked about Vatican's openness and willingness to pursue humanitarian work, particularly in the facilitating prisoner exchanges between the two sides. And there was also an intriguing note at the end. It said that they talked about the situation of the Catholic Church in Russia. It didn't elaborate. We know that the situation of the Catholic Church in Russia is a bit precarious, or at least uncomfortable there. The Orthodox Church and the state have always been kind of wary of the Catholic Church. There are maybe close to 1 million Catholics in Russia, and we know that that might be one of the factors that the Pope has always been kind of conciliatory and very careful in his approach to Russia, even during the Ukraine war. So that remains to be seen more detail about that.
All right, Frank, we appreciate those updates. Frank Rocca, Senior Vatican Analyst for EWTN News.